Oh boy, today we are diving back into the depths of the massive underground world of bootlegging with two figures that I cannot believe exist, but they do, and they are in my possession. Today, we are looking at none other than Kongzilla. So I can hear a couple of you asking already, Chris, what the hell am I looking at? Well, you are looking at two figures that I picked up off AliExpress. Yes, the one-stop shop for all things unofficial. Which is a pleasant way of saying that. I happen to be perusing it, looking for other wacky things. I have done a couple of videos on let's just say unofficial merch that I have found off of that particular site, and as I was rolling through, these guys popped up. Well, as I take a sip of my drink, I apologize, one of them popped up, but then I got a recommendation for the other, and I thought to myself, well, if there are two, might as well go with both. So here we are. So these arrived the other day in the mail. They are monstrosities in their own right. Yes, it's interesting having two variations of what is essentially the same figure. They're very night and day different. So what I'm going to do is do one at a time, do a little compare and contrast, because these things are wacky and wild, and I cannot believe that they exist, but they do. As you can see, I'm holding them in my hand. This is not AI. This is not any sort of magic. These are not 3D printed, as far as I can, at least on my end. So we're gonna start with what I call the Hulk version, and then move on to what I call the Nightmare version. So you might be wondering, Kongzilla. Well, this isn't an original concept. I mean, it's actually been done in a model format way back in the late 90s by a company called Bowen. So they made this fantastic looking kind of hybrid Godzilla Kong figure. It was a resin model. It's very hard to come by now, especially in good condition. But it was one of those early days of kind of the collector market really starting to, morph into what it is today. So we are talking about bootleg merchandise because, well, that is what this is. So someone in China said, I like Godzilla, I like Kong. Let's merge the two together. And that is what we have here. So pull back a little bit. So this is what I call figure A. I've seen a couple of different versions. Let me just clarify by versions. Different colorways of these two particular figures that I'm reviewing. So I went with the blue. There's a purple, and there was also a white that I saw. Essentially, it's just the coloring of the spikes and a couple of other things. The sculpts, the two main sculpts that I have here are the two figures. But this one is what I call the Hulk figure, because it kind of reminds me of like the old Peter David Hulk, covers back in the day. So this is a chunky boy. He is thick. So he's about 7 inches from snout to tail in length. He stands roughly about 6 inches tall, if that, maybe a little under. So he's got this hunched kind of demeanor, very much more gorilla-ish than anything else. He is completely soft vinyl. This is the softest of soft vinyl. He reminds me a lot of a classic late 90s Bandai figure where they were very soft, as you can see. So head does not move. He has articulation here in the feet and arms, and the tail swings about. So he's got this cool matte black paint job on him. So The detailing right here in the spines is actually not bad for what is essentially a whole cloth figure. And I'll give them this. I mean, whoever made this bothered to paint all the way to the tail, unlike Playmates, which didn't bother with some of the other things. Now, this one's got the more gorilla face. Let me just zoom in here just a little bit, give you a better idea. So this is the Kongiest face of the two, as you can see. And again, some not bad detailing. I mean, look, this is just a basic paint job, but you know, they bothered to give the tongue, the mouth, the eyes, you know, there's some thought and some care put into it. Little highlights for the legs, arms, and feet, and the chest. But yeah, he's essentially just one solid kind of figure that, you know, back in my day when I was a kid, this would be what we call a swap meet figure, because that's the only place that would sell these kinds of things. He is interesting. I have no idea who made this. This was a sculpt of some sort. It is clearly not an official figure by any means, but it's a solid official figure. He does have that kind of, you know, he does resemble more Kong with just kind of like with a tail and Godzilla spikes. I do find him to be pretty cool, but of the two figures, I would say he's the lesser quality, and you'll see what I mean when we get to the next guy. But still, the fact that this thing exists is wild to me. So, but yeah, this is figure A. What we need to look at now is this nightmare of what I call figure B. So this was the actual figure that caught my attention originally when I was perusing AliExpress. Once I clicked on it, it gave me the option of, oh hey, here's another Kong figure, and that was one you just saw. And why am I calling them A and B? Because that's kind of how these were listed. The other one, the previous one I just showed you, was kind of listed as figure A. So figure B, this is a truly nightmarish figure, if anything. So now this is the most comic booky of the Godzilla Kong hybrid figures. As you can see, let's get a little close up here of this face. So this has got a very wild looking face. This one does incorporate more of both Godzilla and Kong's features into the face, creating this weird humanoid uncanny valley looking thing. If anything, yeah, this truly is more of a hybrid of the two, because it does incorporate Kong and Godzilla's biology a bit more. So unlike the other figure, he is a harder plastic, or harder vinyl. He's still somewhat soft, but he's nowhere near as soft as the previous figure. He lacks the paint job of the other figure too, so he's a solid matte black. The face actually, shockingly, has some, I mean, look at that. Look how uncomfortable that is. It actually reminds me of the Kraken from the original, the Harryhausen style Clash of the Titans, because just the way that he sculpted it. And I wouldn't doubt whoever conjured this figure probably ripped that off a little bit. I mean, look at it. There is some, I'll probably have a little picture right there, some posing resemblance of that. But this one, unlike the other figure where he has, you know, the more grillish stand, this one has a much more humanoid stance to him. He's a thick, chunky boy. Detailing is actually quite insane. You can look, whoever sculpted this thing went out of their way to really give this thing some texture and some stylish. I mean, this was not, I mean, look at the spines. There's detailing all about them. So whoever decided to create this thing and manufacture it had a moral sense of like, no, if I'm making junk, I'm making good junk. And of course, still continuing the trend of the paint job going all the way to the tip of the tail, unlike some other mainstream manufacturers. So like like his counterpart. He moves at the tail. He moves at the legs, but not as, you see, they're not as loose. And he doesn't move at the shoulders. In fact, he kind of moves right below it. So you, instead of getting up, you get this kind of wide stance, kind of grapple. But the weird humanoid aspect, like this is very much if someone took a Hulk figure and added Kong and Godzilla traits to it. He is so freaking weird. So much like the previous figure, he stands about 6 inches. He's actually shorter, so he's probably about 6 as well in length. So let's get the two back in here so we can give you like a good compare and contrast. So both of these figures ran me $22. That was total for both. So they're both like about $12 a piece. Actually, no, about 11 piece. Yeah. Why do these exist? Why not? Someone said, you know what? I can manufacture these. They're both of a soft vinyl nature. They're both slights against the Almighty, and why they exist is beyond me. But I am wildly fascinated by these things. I can't convey that enough. These are very weird cornerstones of this circle of collecting, and especially in a world, you know, as you see in the background, where Godzilla and Kong are popular again. I'm astonished that someone had decided to not only make one, but make two vastly different figures. I mean, look, I mean, they are, it's the same, but it's not, you know, it's like an alternate reality, you know, like mirror kind of world looking thing. So would I recommend these? Look, if you're a hardcore collector and you gotta have a little bit of everything, why not? If you like weird stuff, sure. But would I go out of my way to, you know, buy one of these? I mean, I did for this review. What am I going to do with these afterwards? I don't know. They're from China. I don't know. I can't tell you if these things are actually even safe to give to your kids or anything like that. I would not recommend that. So I would recommend, if you're an adult collector, maybe go ahead and knock yourself out if you can find these. But beyond that, oof. But they are weird freaks of nature, and I kind of love them for that very reason. And I am glad that I have them, and wanted to share with you guys just this insane like age we live in, where something like this can just be easily manufactured and cranked out in mass volume online. So, like I said, I have somehow managed to find, you know, shades of gold on AliExpress. Probably the best figure I found thus far, and I've done a review on it, was that Beast Glove Kong that looked like an old 90s McFarlane figure, and it's magical. These two are not on par with that guy, but they are super funky and weird, and I kind of love them. I kind of do. All right, well, that will wrap up my review of these bootleg Kongzilla figures from AliExpress. Remember, if you like what you see, we do have a show. It's called the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. You can find us at thekaijukingdompodcast.com. And if you don't like to download, well, you can stream us on all of your favorite podcast sites, including Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you might find better podcasts. We're also on social media. We're on X. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook.com. Follow us there to keep up on the late breaking news in the world of giant monsters. Or if you want to say hi, give us a shout out, ask us a question, whatever, those are the places to do it. And on that note, that will wrap it up for this edition of the Koffers. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.